Here we are.
remedy I texted Mike from Body Bio, and I'm like, I know there's not a cure for the common cold, but I'm going to need every single thing you think could work. I'm going to put it into my body over the next 3 days. So
when do you leave?
Sunday. So I should be all right. It started yesterday, and I'm not like sneezing or coughing or anything. It's just like sore throat, a little bit of congestion.
If you had to go, like, when do you like need to be there? When's like the most important days that you're there?
Monday. I mean, we're doing the show there on Monday. So yeah, I don't have a lot of wiggle room.
I was already going to try to like barter for you to be like, skip another day, make sure you're really ready to go.
There's no barter because we got to be back. We leave Thursday night anyway. It's also wild. Like, I guess it's just adrenaline because as soon as the show starts, like earlier today, I'm fine. And then as soon as it ends, I'm like, get me to bed.
So you're not there for the Super Bowl. You're there for Super Bowl week.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because that's when the shows are. Like, we do the shows from Radio Row, the Super Bowl week.
Is anyone from
me being there for the Super Bowl wouldn't I'm sure I could go, but wouldn't provide any value to the radio station. I'm sorry, what were you saying, CJ?
Is anyone else staying for the game, or is it like mostly everyone leaving?
Just the broadcast crew. The two shows going are Giglio and Hugh Douglas, and then me, Ike, and Jack be there. Because then we got to be like, we have a show on Monday, so you know. I remember getting up at 3:30 or 4 a.m. to get my flight back from Minneapolis when I went to that one because we had to get back. I refused to do any parade planning because I thought it would jinx it. So I had to get back to work immediately to plan our broadcast stuff for the parade. Oh, man. Can't believe the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. It's pretty cool.
Super Bowl.
Yep.
Just like that.
You want to be in there. That's where you want to be. The Super Bowl. It's the big game. Yeah.
It is the big game.
The big game.
We don't talk enough about the big game.
Yeah. It's the big game. Why do they play it again next year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah. Ready to go? I guess we are. If it is the ultimate game. All right. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process at briggsauction.com. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process, and Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe. Subscribe at rightstoRickySanchez.com/newsletter. On the show today, as soon as we agree it's okay to lose games, not only did the Sixers win 4 consecutive games, they won 4 consecutive games without Paul George, without Joel Embiid for the last 2.5 of them, and playing like 5 league minimum guys. So pretty impressive. If it's something, it's definitely something. Also on the show, Joel Embiid pushing for the Sixers to pursue Jimmy Butler because we can't just be normal for a minute. And we are 1 week from the trade deadline. We'll talk about how the next week affects what they will do. A note on the Draft Council. If you're a regular Draft Council listener, you will know there has not been an episode in 3 weeks. And that is because our own Dan Ollinger has a full-time job now. And we are putting the Draft Council on hiatus for the moment as he figures out what his life will be like if he is able to do it. Yes. But we are hopeful that once everything settles down, he can return as we lead up to the draft, a few months before the draft. But Dan hasn't written for us in the last couple of weeks, but he will be back writing for us as well. Another quick thing, the Polar Plunge is for, for the Special Olympics, the benefits of Special Olympics, which I'm doing and I have a team for, is Friday and Saturday at Citizens Bank Park. Good news is we have surpassed our fundraising goal. I think we're at $3,500. You can join our team or you can donate. I would love to be the number 1 team. I think we're like 7. That sucks. And every $25 donation, you're registered to win an autographed Saquon Barkley jersey. So if you donate $75, that is 3 entries, blah, blah, blah. So go to phillyplunge.org to donate and just search Spike, and the team is Spike's Plungers. And Special Olympics, I've mentioned this before, just a wonderful cause. I know like that you probably inherently just think it's a good cause, and it is. But the few times I've done this and been able to hear from the families and the athletes, the difference it makes in their lives is really, really, really awesome. And, you know, seeing tears in parents' eyes about what it's done for their kids and what it's done for their family. So very, very proud to support Special Olympics by jumping in a freezing cold pool at Citizens Bank Park. Surfside iced tea and vodka, let me tell you, in about a week and a half for the big game, if you're having a big game party, Surfside iced tea and vodka, you got to have tons of it there. You have all different varieties too. Maybe get a little green tea and vodka, raspberry tea and vodka, maybe lemonade and vodka. All of them 100 calories, all of them 3 grams of sugar, all of them taste great. None of them have any bubbles because iced tea should not have carbonation. You can get it wherever you get your booze, both in New Jersey and PA now, and in all the different states. PA used to just be liquor stores, but now beer distributors, grocery stores, gas stations, wherever you buy alcohol, Surfside is there. To learn more, go to statesidevodka.com. But remember, you've got to be 21. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
Laddie, sweetie, the man is here. Say the name. I say the name. I say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. 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 I say the name. I say the name. Say the name.
Life's tricky Sanchez forever.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who the Sixers are winning just to spite. That is one Mike Levin. Come on, man. It's fun. It's fun.
It's just ridiculous. This team
It's fun.
has never done what I wanted them to do.
Yep.
Just a group of guys, regardless of who they are, for my entire life, working together to spite me.
Yep.
I've always been very honest in this podcast.
Yes.
Sometimes too honest.
Mm-hmm.
This was not an intent thing, but as they were getting into this game,
Yep.
I found my body rooting for them to win.
Yes,
and I don't like it.
it's fun.
I wasn't intending on it. It
Yep.
wasn't a conscious decision, but you know, Kelly Oubre hits a 3. I feel good about it.
Yep.
I mean, they are a terrible collection of people for doing this to me, but I mean, Jalen Johnson out for the season for the Hawks, who have lost 6 games in a row.
Oh boy.
Chicago Bulls are
Scoreboard watching. Yeah.
well. The Bulls are
Yeah.
like already talking about like selling off stuff at the deadline. The Bulls lose tonight, so the Sixers and Bulls are now tied for the 10 seed.
And Sixers ahead in the loss column, I think, right?
Ahead in the loss column, 2.5 games back of the Hawks for the 9 seed.
Yep.
The Heat, they're 4 games back for the 7 seed, for the 6 seed even, but I don't think they're going to catch Orlando, who's 500. But the Heat, depending on what happens with the Jimmy situation, which we'll talk about. I mean, it's just like, had they won a couple more games earlier when they were fucking around, then I would never have gotten to this place.
Yeah.
That I've been at, which was like, call it, because there were so many other games that they should have won that they just fucked around on. And now they just go back and win back-to-back games twice after being 0-7 on the second half of a back-to-back.
Yep.
Going into these two victories. And it's just like, all right, dude, whatever I want, you're not going to do it. So fuck you.
Yep. It's going to be what it is.
It's going to be what it is. I have no control.
Yep.
I'm just complaining on a podcast.
Yep.
There was plenty of fun stuff tonight. Is really the only thing that matters to me really is Maxey looks like himself again.
Yep, he does.
And it's not just about shots going in. It's just, there's a quote I saw about how his family noticed how unhappy he looked, and he sort of like righted the ship from there. And it's just like he's smiling, he's having a blast, he's goofing around again, he's forcing it less at the rim. He really isn't trying like desperately to draw fouls anymore, which it did feel like he was doing for a while, and it was causing him to miss around the rim. But he's got his floaters back. He's scooping with both hands around the rim. Mid-range is a threat. Hit a nasty step back for like a turnaround into a step back for his for a first half buzzer beater. He's just balanced. He's in control.
It's nice. It's fun.
Nice. And he's second in the league in scoring in the last like 3-4 weeks.
And
decisive, attacking off of their zone, off the catch. I mean, he's been great. He's been getting the ball out on doubles faster lately. I don't know if you noticed that. That was something that I was very frustrated by earlier, where it felt like he was annoyed at having to pass out of double teams. And now he's attacking with a pass out of double teams. Even if he doesn't always get the assist, I think they're getting more good looks out of it. I do think having like Eric Gordon standing there, like always on the foul line extended, is helpful because he just knows where he's going to be. And they've been using their bigs in a short roll more. Yabusele and Bona got passes out of the short roll to baseline cutters and stuff.
There's a lob tonight from Maxi to Oubre
to Justin Edwards.
Oh, Justin Edwards, right.
Which was very nice. And again, Max, just while on Maxi, like the whole season I've been on how good his defense has been, and that's never wavered. That's always been the case. Tonight, had a huge block on a classic DeMar DeRozan turnaround, which never happened. He's third in the league in steals. I think he's really made a huge, huge leap. And when games matter again, which maybe we're there, I guess.
Yes,
it's going to be nice to see him and like not. It's huge for the Jared McCain part of it, because I do think Jared McCain eventually is going to be a passable defender, but he's young. They're going to count on him next year when he's still going to probably be bad at defense. But Maxi being at least average to above average now, third in the league in steals, is crazy. It's a huge leap. It's a big deal.
I think also is notable, which I don't know if you'll scoff at or not, but I think they've responded. I think they've responded to like Nick Nurse finally. I don't think,
scoff at that.
Okay. After the Denver game, him losing his shit and Maxi positively, like the next day, positively reinforcing what Nick Nurse said. They look like they give a shit, you know? And I think sometimes it's not that simple, but sometimes it is that simple. And they are down guys now, and that they can't continue to win with the guys they have right now. But I also think, to your point about the earlier in the year, like you can't feel sorry for yourself and just go, we can feel sorry for ourselves and go, oh, the year's over. But the players cannot do that, and they haven't. And I think the energy on offense, I feel like the movement has been much, much better. The passing has been much, much better.
Helps to play against the Kings in their horrendous zone.
Yeah, but even really like they've done it to everybody, really, I think offensively. And it hasn't just been, it's been a lot of Maxi, but it hasn't just been Maxi. Oubre has consistently contributed. Eric Gordon is now leading the team in 3-point shooting. He's over 40%. And I actually thought he did. I know you complain about his defense a lot. Well, you complain about his off-ball defense, right?
Yes.
His defense on LeBron was pretty good.
Yeah.
And his defense tonight, when he was on, I think he was on DeRozan at one point, and Fox was pretty good. And they're just playing like they give a shit. Now, Eric Gordon might be playing to get traded. I don't know. It's certainly
There's
possible.
a time Ricky had a dunk. Ricky had a dunk, like I say, one of the classic Ricky reverse dunks in transition.
Yep.
And they cut to the bench and they have a close up on Eric Gordon. Just like I've never seen anyone react less. Like it was just he just truly is not invested in this team at all. He's just like, I'm getting my shots up.
Yep.
They go in now.
Yep.
People seem to like that.
And
I don't give a shit.
And Bona has shows a little bit more each game. I think the only thing that drives me crazy with Bona is on, hey, buddy, when you get an offensive rebound, either go right back up or pass it out. But there's a lot of like dicking around with it. But I don't know. I think and how could you not talk about Ricky Council, who can draw a foul anywhere on the floor, is confidently shooting threes.
Any court in America, he can draw a foul on it.
Yep. He's drawn threes and he's got like a Jalen Brunson style celebration now where he's sniffing his fingers like a fucking weirdo. It's all kind of fun. And you remember watching them win games that it is kind of fun to watch them fucking win games.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Bono could fall down less, but I like him. I like what he's doing. I've always liked it all season. It seems like he's just going to be a really solid pro. He had a, Trey Lyles was set up to take a charge for about a month and a half, and Bono was like, "I'm gonna try it though."
Yeah.
And,
but it was a fun try though.
A fun try. Like no one is gonna be less upset about a try than I am. I always endorse that. But yeah, Ricky hits a couple corner threes against LA, then airballs one. You can't teach that.
No,
you can't teach that.
No.
Yeah, a couple nice driving finishes around the rim. Like he does show moments of competence and then moments of like, what are you doing? Why is it this? It's always that. So I don't know necessarily why he was into close over Justin Edwards, who's just like so much more competent across the board. But I guess Ricky's a better defensive player right now. Edwards showed a lot of poise, kind of has a knack for manipulating the defense with movement. He doesn't get tunnel vision. He moves the ball. Yeah, I think he'll become a solid defensive player because he like looks engaged, but he just doesn't really know what to do yet. Yeah, I mean Eric Gordon, dude.
Yeah,
Eric Gordon mouth talk after this commercial break from CJ.
Our partner. Message from our partner.
From our partner,
Draftkings
CJ appointed
Sportsbook.
Partner.
DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's right.
Well, I mean, this is a big.
Let's talk about the birds.
Yeah, it's a big couple of weeks for DraftKings Sportsbook. The only place to bet the Super Bowl is DraftKings Sportsbook. Remember, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code RTRS, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Birds still sit as a 1.5 point dog.
Okay, so that's what it's been since the beginning. It hasn't really moved.
And I think it's going to stick around there unless there's big injury news. I get the feeling it's not going to move very much. That's sort of my gut on that. All sorts of, you like those, you can bet the coin toss on
what's your pick? What's your pick for coin toss?
Tails never fails, buddy. What's you?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Tails has failed so much.
Oh yeah, it has, I guess. Let's look at the Saquon props. 120 plus yards is a plus 105.
I think he's going to get 120 on the first play.
Yeah, that's how outrageous this guy is that he's like even money to go over 120.
He's unbelievable, dude. That first Eagles offensive play when he just takes off, it's just really special. It's surreal watching this shit.
He scored that. He got it, and it was like he's been so outrageous that he scored on the first play, and I was just like, yeah, of course he did. It's
unbelievable, dude.
Yeah. He's getting better as like the game goes on. You can bet alternate spreads on let's see. If we want the Eagles, let's say we think the Eagles are going to win. Let's say we want to lay points. If we want to lay 2.5, we can get the Eagles plus 123 and minus 2.5. I love all this. Alternate totals, same game parlays, bet who's going to score the first touchdown, all tons of props. DraftKings Sportsbook is where you do it. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code RTRS. That's code RTRS. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details.
I'm probably betting that Travis Kelce over whatever the yards are.
Yes. Well, Zach Ertz had 10 catches for 110 yards. So
good for him, by the way.
Yeah. So actually, Super Bowl, first, just two things. First of all, how are you feeling about it? And
about the big game?
And about the big game. And then the second thing was something we talked about almost all day on the show today is like, do you care that it's Andy on the other sideline? And is it like meaningful for you to like beat Andy? Not in a hate Andy way, but the way I explained it is if we're going to be an elite organization, our best coach of all time can't be a guy that doesn't even have a Super Bowl. It's kind of sad that Andy's the best coach of all time for the Eagles right now. I love him, good coach, but like most people don't even think of him as an Eagles coach. And I don't want him to make history on our fucking dime.
No,
I don't want him to be the three-peat on our dime. I like Andy, but I do want to beat Andy.
Yeah, to me, it's less about Andy. It was a couple years ago.
Yep.
That one was like, oh wow, like Eagles against Andy in a Super Bowl. That's pretty sick.
Yep.
Now it feels like I just want revenge on them and the organization and Mahomes and everything.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty wild to think that people hate Kansas City way more than us. Like, people are very sick of the Chiefs.
For sure.
Overall.
For sure. It is a little bit the devil's Super Bowl because people do also hate the Eagles very much,
Yes.
which I'm enjoying. No, I want to win. Again, I think I took some heat because if it was Eagles Bills, I would have been like happy to be here, and now it's like, all right,
now we got to win.
It's you got to win. You got to win this one.
They
I
can't
loved.
make
I mean,
history on us.
demolishing. I feel I'm taking like sick joy out of listening. I don't usually do this, but like I'm taking sick joy out of listening to people that were like Jaden Daniels so much better than Jalen Hurts. He's so if Jaden Daniels on the Eagles quarterback, they might not have lost a game this year. And I just like that. Like, Jaden's good. He's really good. I had nothing against him.
Yeah, he's probably better than
and Jalen has and Hurts has not played that well, except for he was great last game. He just wins fucking games, dude. And he hasn't turned the ball over. He didn't take as many sacks last game. I mean, that fourth down throw to AJ down the sideline was
great.
Really,
that's what I want. Just fucking take that shot. If there's one guy on AJ, fucking take the shot, throw it, let her rip. Tater chip.
I love it, dude. All right, back to the Sixers, another winning franchise.
Yes.
Oubre has been a couple more things. Oubre has been great. He's been fucking great, dude. This is now a season and a half of Kelly Oubre playing really, really good two-way team basketball. It wasn't just a one-year fluke to get a contract on a minimum. It was like, he's really good. He's just a full, useful player. Can defend his ass off. Had 4 steals tonight. Had gone over 23 games in a row on like good percentages and getting rebounds. He had 5 assists last game. Obviously, everybody's tweeting me about that. It's a career high in assists for him this season. It's a career high in steals for him this season. Like, obviously, going to make a couple dumb plays. Had a couple tonight. But like, he's just really good. And I love when he gets downhill. I love when he gets in the paint. Good things happen. Momentum going forward. He's long. He's physical. He plays his ass off. He's having a good time in Philadelphia. I love Kelly. I was girding myself to trade him in a week or whatever.
Yeah.
And now,
well, we'll get to that because the trade deadline's in a week, and I have a whole trade deadline section, but like the next week will determine what they're doing there.
I mean, I thought we were determining it. I thought I had been determined it.
No.
And then four wins in a row. Yeah. Even though the fucking I mean, I can be pissed off about it. They'd be in good position to get the 6th spot right now if they didn't win these games, but they did.
Yep.
And a lot of it is because Eric Gordon, post mouth surgery where he got anabolic steroids, performance enhancing mouth. Now he's just back to being 27 years old again. He's attacking off the dribble because the shot is making them close out harder.
Logo threes.
He ripped the ball from LeBron yesterday. I do think he's a decisive passer. Like, now he's slow as hell setting up for his shot, but when the shot's not there, he moves that ball real fast. He found Bona under the rim for a dunk. I think his presence there has like stabilized things now that his shot is going in again. And a good game for Kyle Lowry, man. It's nice to see that. It's nice to see Kyle Lowry have 13, 8, and 5 and a plus 27.
Yeah.
Some always vet hustle plays. O-board on a free throw. Always like surprises a big with a weak side steal. Every 3 of his feels like a big 3. I mean, there's a bunch of guys in this team that I would like more, Lowry being probably the main one, if there were just more competent
other players,
younger athletic players there. And they have those players. Those players are just hurt.
Yeah, the fact that we're playing Maxey with Reggie Jackson and Kyle Lowry kind of
is insane.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Kind of speaks to where we are right now.
It really is like that. And that's why I'm so hesitant to be like, all right, let's get in there. It's like they trot out Maxey, Reggie, and Kyle Lowry, and you're like, this is a team trying to win.
I forgot to put it in the rundown, but tell me you saw JJ Redick's little temper tantrum.
Oh yeah, I see them all, man.
Okay,
I see him all out here. He's
temper
it's
tantrum
really
with
fun
the
watching
mustache.
him. The mustache is funny. I say this as someone that had one not too not too far, not too much in the past. It does look more aggressively ridiculous on him, but maybe it probably looked ridiculous on me for a while also. He's just he's the most unhappy man in the world.
Yep,
the saddest man in America.
Yep. We got an email from Aiden, writes to RickySanchez@gmail.com. Spike Mike CJ. I'm writing after last night's cathartic game because I realized it was the perfect encapsulation of all my frustrations about JJ Redick as a player. The Lakers last night not only had not The Lakers last night only had 4 offensive rebounds, a myriad of turnovers, and absolutely no effort in recovering loose balls. Seeing the Sixers mercilessly hunt the Redick lookalikes of Connect and Reeves was the cherry on top of an excellent Sixers victory. Non-basketball question: how long, if at all, could you hold a handstand for? And we will get to why that is a question in a moment. But I did want to show you this. So congratulations to Josh Harris for losing on Sunday to the Philadelphia Eagles. But a friend of mine named Mike, who works for Cooler, that app that we have our podcast on, found another awkward Josh Harris handshake.
Oh my God.
Handshake moment. Yeah. So you got to watch it a couple times because it's one of those ones where they go in at the wrong thing. Like one guy's going to do a high five and the other guy's going to do a handshake, but Josh Harris is involved. So here is that video. See, there's Josh.
Roger Goodell.
Yeah, no, here we go. Here it comes. Oh, do you see it there?
That's more the other guy, though.
Yeah, but Josh went for the handshake and he went high. To show again.
That's more the other guy going high. This guy seems
This
like
is okay. And
what is this guy's deal?
Here it comes. And
He's joking around. He's really gesticulating.
I
mean, I can't blame Josh on that. That's the other guy, man.
Okay, you're not blaming Josh.
Yeah, the other guy goes high hand. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, he wants a hug or something. Yeah, very, very strange. So,
and there is, speaking of, you just have it on screen.
What?
Bob Myers.
Oh, there is Bob Myers right next. Just, boy, he's a tall drink of water, Bob Myers.
Yeah, basketball player.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, there he is. Hey, I'm just hanging out with the football stuff. Hey, have you seen Daryl Morey's that spent all this money and they're 17-27? You know, I just, whoa, has nothing to do with me. I'm just standing around football stuff. Okay. So the trade deadline is, let's get to a little Embiid stuff here and trade deadline. Okay. So the trade deadline is 1 week away. I do feel like Embiid is going to play Friday against Denver. That's where it seems like it is trending toward. He's had some good practices. He looked good before the game tonight during warmups. We'll get to what else he was doing at practice. But this is trade deadline related in that this is a report from Vincent Goodwill of Yahoo. And let's listen to what he had to say.
I've heard that Philly quietly could be a suitor for Jimmy Butler.
Not that
and
quiet.
A Paul George for Jimmy, sort of straight up, I don't think they make exactly the same, but theoretically it would be a Jimmy for Paul George swap. I believe I've heard this, that Joel Embiid, who still loves Jimmy Butler, is pushing for them to reacquire Jimmy Butler, knowing that Jimmy is out there. But here's the other side of that, Jay Adonde. Paul George was told by management or ownership, we wouldn't trade you year one of this deal. So there's so many different iterations. I'm not saying that Joel Embiid is pushing for Paul George to be traded. I'm saying that Joel Embiid is pushing for them to acquire his buddy, Jimmy Butler. But can you even trust Joel Embiid, who can't get on the floor?
All right.
Yeah, for Jimmy Butler, is that what you'd want to sign up for? Is that where you would find your joy? He wasn't wearing Philadelphia 76ers colorway shoes, right? He's wearing those Phoenix Suns colorways.
So a couple things. First of all, I wonder how you feel about this, but first of all, there's no other way to get Jimmy Butler other than Paul George. The only other way is Tyrese Maxey. Like the money doesn't work other way.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about if Joel Embiid, who isn't even playing, is telling them to trade Paul George, who he just recruited there 3 months ago, for Jimmy Butler. Like, buddy, I don't think you get that call right now, honestly. Like, I think that's pretty, awful, actually, if that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. None of us want to. Neither of us want to do it. Like, from a trade standpoint, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, if this offseason happened and there was, hey, do you want to sign this past offseason?
Yes.
Do you want to sign Paul George to a 4-year max, or do you want to sign Jimmy to the contract that he's on, which is like a 2-year max? I would have chosen Jimmy.
Just because it's shorter.
just because it's shorter.
Yeah.
Because we know he works with Joel. If he comes here, he would want to be here. 2 years is 2 years.
Also, I think he'd murder Joel if he was here now and Joel was playing once every 5 games, but he wouldn't be happy, is what I'm saying. I give Paul George a little credit for not. It's not really been a peep out of Paul George all year, but
no.
Yeah.
I think it is a really, really bad look
Yes.
to other people around the league to finally get a guy to sign here, a max level player, and to trade him half a season into it. I think that's
Yes.
a really bad look. Also, you talk about Jimmy, like he's hurt all the time also.
Yes.
Jimmy hasn't played over 65 games since 2016, 2017. 59, 65, 58, 52, 57, 64, 60, and this year 25 with some injuries and suspensions sprinkled in. Like, there's not like a guarantee that he's like the most guy. He half-asses it a lot when he's not feeling appreciated.
Paul George's game will age better than Jimmy Butler's, by the way.
Absolutely.
He
He
can
completely stops shooting threes when he wants to. Like, I loved Jimmy's time here. I thought losing him was a mistake. Choosing Ben Simmons and Tobias over him clearly was a mistake. But I think the way he's handling himself in Miami, I mean, I would not trade Paul George for Jimmy straight up. I might not trade Paul George for Jimmy and a first-round pick straight up. 2 first-round picks, maybe we're talking, but I think, yeah, I mean, that's a no from me.
Yeah. And it's a bad look if this is even, forgetting about actually making the trade, it's a bad look for this to even be out there.
Yep.
If this is at all true. And Vince Goodwill this isn't like a half-ass source. I mean, who knows where he heard it from?
No, Vinny's very well connected.
Yeah, so I don't know. And like I sort of think the Joel Jimmy thing is like they both like the idea of it a lot better than what the reality of it would be right now, you know. So
And we've been saying this is more us. Like the shot hasn't been falling as much, or it's been falling a little bit more lately before he got hurt with the pinky. PG's been good. It hasn't been his fault. If they've won more games, it would be fine. And if a couple more shots went in, fine. But his effort's good. Some shot selection issues that he's always had, but with the team as constructed, if everyone was healthy, Paul George would be fitting in beautifully with this team. I'm just not. I can feel people just be like, oh, that's what Paul George does. That's why we didn't want to get him or something like that. PG's been completely fine for this kind of player at his age. He's been like completely 100% fine.
yes, I agree. And we'll get to one other Joel thing before we get to the rest of the trade deadline. After we tell you about Briggs Auction, the official auction of the Ricky. Of course, we have official auction, and it's got to be from Delco, Garnet Valley. 4-generation, family-owned and operated auction house. Now, it would be fun if they did live auctions and you went there and they're like, give me 45, 50, 50, you 50, 50, do I hear 50, 50? But that's not what it is. It is online auctions. You can get the Briggs Auction app almost every week now. They're full force going every week. Discovery auctions, estate auctions, sometimes sports auctions, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 different lots of art and collectibles and the vehicles and houses and clothing and vintage furniture, all that shit. A lot of them starting at $1. You can get the app in Google Play or the App Store. Just go to briggsauction.com. And we're proudly presenting to you the CJ Briggs Auction item of the week.
Yes, this week is an estate sale, so it's a lot of like furniture and house items. But I saw a group. It's not one item. It's about a dozen. It's a pack of Hermes scarves.
Hermes.
Of all, is it Hermes or Hermes?
Hermes.
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 There you go.
Hermes.
Hermes. Yeah,
I looked it up before too to double check.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's Hermes. I don't think it's Hermes.
The patterns on all of these are like all extremely unique. And
yeah, those are
like,
pretty sick.
I clearly I'm not a big designer guy, but like they're all going for in the range that they estimate versus like the bidding price is anywhere between $100 and $300. And yeah, like imagine just rocking one of these, one for each day of the week.
There you go. I actually saw in this auction as well, there was a Civil War sword, 2 swords from the Civil War, which
I
is
did see that. Whenever I see like the old stuff, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if this was like belonging to someone who I don't want to, bring up
right.
or like any
Well,
bad connotation.
yeah,
But,
we know you supported the North in the Civil War. I mean, it was cool nonetheless. But yes, I wouldn't want it from one of the bad guys of the Civil War. So the thing is, you win the auction. Pickup is easy. Open pickup on Saturdays or by appointment, very easy. If you can't pick it up, they'll work with a shipper for you, get it to you. And if you want to auction a bunch of stuff off, if you have a bunch of valuable things you would like to auction off, and I'm telling you, the variety of stuff is pretty outrageous. I have a bunch of Briggs Auction items in my house. Just send an email to info@briggsauction.com. It's Briggs Auction, the official auction of the Ricky. Only other thing, Joel-wise, and Mike, I don't know if you saw this video, but at practice the other day, Joel was doing this.
So
there's
doing some handstands.
Handstands
to contest Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
He's goofing around. He's having fun. His tummy's out.
Yeah, that's just the maybe we got an email from a Ricky listener, and the poor guy was like, "Does Joel just hate us? Is that what this is? Does he hate us?" It does feel like that.
It does occasionally feel like it.
Yeah,
you're like, on the one hand, it's like he seems like he's having a nice time, and that's good, and he should be allowed to be a goofy young man.
Yes,
and if Jokic did this, people would love it. But he's missed so many games.
Yes.
He fell on a security rope at Christmas and sprained his ankle.
Yep.
Bynum hurt his knee bowling. Like we've had too many of these kinds of things.
Just don't do the handstands. And
or don't do it on camera.
Yeah, most of the practice people can't watch, the press can't watch. It's like this is why it seems like he hates us, because he waited until somebody could take video of it for him to do it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he looks,
then
agile.
He should be playing. He should be playing if he's feeling fine. If he's responding well to treatment, they said, then he should be playing.
Yeah.
All right, deadline.
Yeah. So trade deadline is February 6th. And as you mentioned, the Sixers are now tied for the final play-in spot. And truly, these next 4 games, which is what they have before the deadline, I think definitely determines what they do, right? So Yabusele feels like if they look bad going into the deadline, Yabusele feels like he's gone. Eric Gordon would definitely be gone. Less likely, probably the Kelly Oubre, Caleb Martins. I think you would need more because you have.
I think Caleb Martin has like no chance of being traded. That would be very wild to me.
So, and
I would add Drummond.
Yeah,
but he's hurt right now.
And Drummond as well. The other thing that we love talking about, and we're actually so happy every time they do it, is for them to get under the tax, which they're going to care about if they stink going into the deadline, which means they'd have to cut about $11 million worth of salary. So,
right now?
What's that?
Right now they have to cut $11 million?
What, to get under the tax? They're $11 million over the tax.
Oh, currently. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, Drummond is 5. You figure Yabusele is minimum, right? Gordon's a minimum, so that would be a wash. That seems like an Oubre type thing. That gets
KJ Martin
or KJ, yeah. But they will care about it if this team stinks going into the deadline. So
it's just brutal that this season has happened exactly as it's happened.
Yep.
I would say they are drawing several inside straights in a row.
Yep.
For the team to be as particularly frustrating as they have been, because they start 3-14, then they look good, obviously because of the Joel injury, then the PG multiple injuries, then the Joel suspension, then Maxey gets hurt for a little bit.
Yep.
Then they look good together, and then now we're back to doing this, and it's like, okay, they're losing games. McCain's out, gone, and it's like, okay, let's lose games, and then they win 4 in a row, both on back-to-backs, and it's just like, what Why? Dude, if you had just been a little bit better, then they'd be like the 8th seed. And it's like, okay, cool. They're, one game under 500, but they're going to go together and it's fine. But they've been so frustratingly bad that if I get back on board to this thing and I say like, okay, yeah, stand pat at the deadline and just let Yabusele walk, then I'm like, when you could get probably like a top 36 pick for him in the draft.
He's been so awesome, by the way. I
love
don't
him.
want to watch the rest of the year without Yabusele. The video of him at the fucking Eagles game was
amazing.
So the best.
He's the best. Here's what I think. I think that a good organization that knows that they are not able to re-sign Yabusele this summer, that knows that this is not the season that they're going to contend, would trade Gershon Yabusele. I think a good, smart, making the tough decisions organization would go, yeah, we can get something valuable for him next year that we can't use this year. But I also understand if they're going to go for it, if they're just going to be like, well, fuck it. Like, let's just play hard this year and see where it goes and see if everybody gets at least a little bit happier, and then we'll lose when we lose in the playoffs or the play-in. Then he's going to be helpful to that. He'll be helpful to making the team competent going forward, especially if Drummond is continuing to be hurt.
The deadline just reeks of not doing anything, is what it reeks of, is that they can't buy and they don't want to sell because. So here are the 4 games they have before the deadline: Nuggets, Celtics, Mavericks, Heat. Now, they could do the world or make this very easy decision. Like, these are 4 losable games.
Well, the last 4 games were losable games, Spike.
That's
so what now?
Point. Yeah, that's a good point.
What about that?
A really good point.
I pegged him down as losable games, and I was taunting AU on, I guess with Blue Sky, about how losable these games were and how he's going to be standing there with his dick in his hand. And now where's my dick, Spike?
Well,
where is it?
In your hand?
That's right.
AU's hand.
No.
Okay.
To my knowledge, he's not holding it.
Okay.
I think it's me.
I was talking to AU about it, and where I settled on this, and I think you can tell I'm pretty wishy-washy on the whole thing, is that they're not going to win the championship, and they're also not going to get the number 1 pick. So my sort of take is, I just want to do what will bring people the most joy, and them winning some games and getting into the playoffs.
Oh, this is so like fucking 2012 Sixers sounding.
Well, this is where we are, though. You know, it's where we are. This is where we are.
It wouldn't have been if they had finished a 7 or 8 seed.
Yes.
In the tanking rankings, then they would have had like a quarter to a third of % chance to keep the pick.
Yes.
And the number 1 overall pick, the team with the best chance at the number 1 overall pick has a 14% chance of getting it.
Right.
14 the Wizards have for losing 15 games in a row and being 6-40. 14% at Cooper Flag. So the Sixers having 6% at Cooper Flag or 7.5% at Cooper Flag.
Not that bad.
Was not that bad. Yeah. And so the idea of being like, they're not going to get it, whatever. It's like, probably. But I still think the percentages prior to these 4 games and not knowing about Joel or PG with his finger, I thought that 6 to 9% chance of getting Cooper Flag, or even 20 or 30 plus at getting a top 4 pick and keeping it, or holding on to the 6th seed and keeping that just by not jumping, I thought that was way higher of a percentage chance than
making a run.
And I still think that.
Yes.
Unless we get like very healthy Embiid, which
probably not.
Who the fuck do we know?
Yeah, and I agree with you that if I'm looking at the data, I'm like, yes, of course, it's infinitely higher. I don't believe they're going to make a run. But I do, and I know you're going to say this is a loser thing, I do like just pissing away a season at this point. It just feels like unfair to everybody.
But that's why it's not pissing it away in my mind.
Right.
Standing pat when they were like, if they would have been like 14 games under 500 at the deadline, with like no clarity on Joel, and standing pat and just going like, well, let's see. It's like, well, then you're just because you like Gershon and people seem to enjoy him, which I love him. He's the kind of player I've been asking for forever. I wanted him when they signed him. Like, this is the issue, is that like, I think pretty silly cap rules that allow you to not sign him for more than like 125% of what you're paying him, which the vet minimum is nothing. So I just think that it would be a washed season if they traded stuff to try to go for it this year.
Well,
and then had less to do that with next year. If this season was and it's a bummer because McCain got hurt. If McCain didn't get hurt, then it would have been useful in that sense. They already found somebody in Justin Edwards, which is great. That's just great. That's a win. But Bona being, continuing to improve and get minutes, great. Needed that. Helpful. I think there's other guys that they could take chances on if they had committed to the tank or whatever. But to me, then this season would not have been a wash because you could have gotten some second round picks. They're out of the draft this season. Once again, they do not have a draft pick this coming season if it doesn't convey from the Thunder. And they don't even have a second round pick. So it's like if you had gotten something that you can rebuild and then go in next year when all of the fucking cursed gods are not looking down upon you, smiting left and right, which that has been what the season is, then you can go like, it's not a smite season, 25, 26. Oh, then we'll go all in. We'll go all in this season because we're not being smited on a daily basis actively.
Are you using smited right? I don't even
Smote.
know that word. Yeah, smote. Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, and they'll tell you now. I do wonder this. They will tell you, well, we have no better chance of signing Yabusele if he's here or if he's not here. But that's also not true. Like
someone will pay him a lot more than the Sixers can pay him. There's just no way. And he might love it here, but he doesn't love it by several, like a dozen million.
Now they could get under the tax and then have the normal mid-level exception, I believe, which would give them more because they wouldn't be taxpayer mid-level. It would be normal mid-level. So they're $5 million over the first apron. They're $11 million over the tax. So anyway,
so you trade KJ Martin into somebody, and then they don't guarantee him for next season. You trade Drummond into somebody.
Yes, signed to just put two minimums. Yeah,
okay.
It's worth thought. It's worth thought.
Would you trade? I mean, like they might have to trade, but they might have to trade second round picks to do that.
Yes. And
KJ's been good. KJ's really good.
2 months ago, he was good.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Yabusele than KJ.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
He has actual NBA skills. KJ's good guy to have in there, but doesn't disrupt anything. But I'd rather have Yabusele. So
yeah, it's just they're just in a really tough spot. If they could have, the trade deadline is happening at the exact bad time.
Yes.
If it was a week ago or if it's like a week later, then we'd be like, oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, because we only have 4 games to see where Embiid's going to be.
Yeah,
and 2 of them are back to back, and he's not going to play in one of them anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and you're just assuming that he plays in the Friday game.
I believe he's going to. Yes. So. They play Denver, Boston, Mavericks, Heat. What do you think their record is in those 4 games?
I mean, I still think they're going 0-4 in the games they just won.
Oh, well, that's...
So I'm saying 0-8 will be my guess.
Okay.
Everything this season has been an absolute fucking torture. And I understand why people go like, whatever. But I can't believe you listen to this podcast if you don't think like, okay, how can you... I just want to see them have a nice time. I don't think you listen to this podcast if you think that. And that's why AU is startling. Oh, it's too many games. There's too many games left in the season for me to root for losses. Grow up. You're why they're winning. AU is why they're winning. I blame him.
Well, all right. We'll get back to that in 1 second. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process.
I'm suing AU. We work together and I'm suing him.
We're going to sue AU. And on what grounds?
Because fuck him. That's why.
Yes, that is. And actually, looking at the Kornblau things they can sue you for, it says menu. Injured at work, right? Yep. It is car accident, slip and fall, and it's because fuck you is actually the 4th one. These are specialty. Right. Having been through a personal injury lawsuit, they are long, they are frustrating, there's periods of time where absolutely nothing happens. And I wish when I had gone through mine, when my wife and I were rear-ended by a drunk driver who was also on PCP, that I had known Kornblau at the time, because I do not like the lawyer that we used. Kornblau is different in that he will be first of all, he's fucking awesome at it. That law firm, Kornblau and Kornblau, they've been there for 4 decades. His parents started it. He is now heading it. They have gotten some of the biggest medical malpractice results in all of the Delaware Valley. They have offices all over the place. But the most important thing is that you're going to get Kornblau service, you and him. So many of the personal injury law firms you see advertised, you're not even going to get that person. The person on the billboard, not going to get. Person in the commercial, not going to get them. Because most of those places are just like referral farms. They get you to call them so they can send you to somewhere else. A lot of them don't even practice law here, but Kornblau does. All aspects of bodily injury. And if you have a fucking weird case that's not bodily injury, he's told me about some of the weird cases. He just likes to be challenged. Weird cases. So, if you want to sue a coworker because fuck him, reach out, give him a call, shoot him an email. It doesn't cost you anything. He's helped so many of our listeners, both in personal injury and in like other stuff, just advice that he's given them. 215-576-7200. That is 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam, or email kornblau@kornblauandkornblau.com. Spell out the and. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process.
It's really like,
yes.
It's hard to describe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it is an excuse, but it is a correct one. Of the Sixers for 8 highest paid players this year, currently 2 of them are healthy. 2 of the top 8.
Yeah, we forget about Caleb Martin, by the way. Just not playing anymore. Yeah,
Caleb Martin. So Embiid, PG, obviously, hopefully PG comes back soon. It's just a finger. Caleb, who's been out on and off the whole season. KJ, who's been out for a while. Drummond, who's been out for a bit. And McCain, who's out for the season. They're top 8 highest paid players. They have Maxey and Oubre. I mean, that's just like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And they're winning games.
It's a cursed year. And now
how
they're
are they winning
games.
games? How is it even happening?
Yeah.
We got this email from Rick, writes rickysanchez@gmail.com. Hi, gents. I imagine this has been forwarded to you. It has. I haven't read it yet because it's fucking long. If you haven't seen it already, but Defector followed up on Color Star recently with a monstrous 11,000-word article trying to find out why Color Star exists at all. The article is confusing, and I'm not sure I fully understand it, but it seems like Color Star used to be a legit company, but now aspires only to grift investors enough to avoid being delisted from NASDAQ. It takes a bit to get to the Sixers relevant info. I'm not sure it's podcast worthy. I think it is, but I figured I'd send it along since it's still August. Quote from the Defector article. It necessarily takes a very slippery network of international middlemen for a company like Color Star to wind up at a conference table with prominent Western professional sports franchises. DV7 Group appears to have a business relationship with the U.S.-based broker Red Phoenix Entertainment, which describes its mission to be a leader for positive connections between partners and global communities by building culturally diverse experiences through music, sports, and entertainment.
Oh my God. There's so many of those businesses.
Yeah. It's
every word of that just reads like Tommy. Just like Tommy is saying them.
Its founder and CEO is Leaf Rogers. And it presently employs a retired basketball player you may even remember, Maurice Mo Evans, who played for 7 NBA teams in 9 seasons after joining the Minnesota Timberwolves as an undrafted rookie.
Yeah.
If anyone believed that Color Star was serious about developing its metaverse and competing for Web3 dominance with the behemoths of all online, it stands to reason they might have guided the company toward a more thoughtful publicity rollout.
Mo Evans had a very particularly bald head.
That the company
That's how you'll remember him.
Was so obviously a radioactive flea circus helps to explain why the more careful parties from among those who ushered Color Star westward sprinted away from the scene before the ink on the agreement had time to dry. No broker wanted their fingerprints on a deal like the one with the 76ers. There you go. Our team signed it. One of the best moments of the podcast was when the CJ Color Star deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Basketball question. I thought you'd like this one. Who's your favorite player to watch that you know isn't that good? I love watching Andre Jackson Jr., but understand that he's basically an undersized Ben Simmons. What do you think, Mike?
Andre's very fun. I like guys that are limited by some things. Sometimes it's their size, sometimes it's the shooting ability, but are smart enough to or their like athleticism, but are smart enough to figure it out and leverage it. I mean, the coolest guy and everybody's on him now. Not like getting there late, but I've loved Amon Thompson since I've seen like any of his tape. He's just
but he's good now.
No,
right?
he's incredible.
Yeah.
I was just saying like the kind of like limited player, but like is still good otherwise.
Yeah.
He's not a shooting threat at this point, but it's just he just moves unlike anyone I've ever seen on a basketball court or in humanity.
Yep.
A player that isn't, I mean, the kind of guy that I'm just thinking that they're not good yet.
Right. That's your thing.
You know?
Is that it's not that they're not good, it's that they're not good yet.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'd have to think about it around the league, but like Sixers wise, Jaden Springer had a couple nice moments with the Celtics the other day.
Yeah, I saw. Had a couple of steals.
A couple steals, couple threes, won them the game.
Yep.
That might be it.
I mean, I don't think I have one in the league anymore. We used to specialize in this, so I had my Tyler Johnsons and players like that, but they don't. I guess my point is like I mostly just watch the Sixers now, and I watch a lot less overall NBA. And I think it's probably because my job as well now. I have to watch a lot of other sporting events. So, but yeah, I don't know if I had one anymore. Few emails. Writes to RickySanchez@gmail.com. This is from Laura, who we met at Fly the Process LA. Quick question for Mike and Ricky listeners. Are there any Philly-owned sports bars or other good locations to watch the Super Bowl in Los Angeles? We have only ever watched the Eagles games at home and would love to share the experience with other listeners. Do you have a recommendation?
I went to the Garage in like Culver City area with a couple friends, including young Jake Bavorsky, to watch Eagles Rams.
And there was Eagles people there?
It's like it's not necessarily it's not like a constantly Eagles bar, but I guess it is. Like there's an Eagles like group that goes there.
Got it.
And there's like signups for locations and like getting seats and stuff.
Okay.
It used to be at the Shack, which was by the beach, but the Shack is closed, sadly, maybe 10 years ago. Great bar. And then the other Eagles place that I think Jason Kelsey went to is, and the Eagles have talked about it, is the Britannia Pub in Santa Monica, which is pretty small, but definitely like rowdy and packed. I might have said this on the podcast or not. I can't remember, but I had to go to Santa Monica to return something for Alyssa and then immediately parked and then immediately had to go to the bathroom and like urgently. And Britannia was open and the bathroom was open and I was like, thank you, Britannia Pub. And I did say at the time, I texted a bunch of other people, it's the Eagles' year. This was like 4 months ago at this point.
Wow, you knew it was the year. You didn't even tell anyone.
I can confirm with some people I texted, but it was like emergency bathroom situation. Eagles bar was there for me and I needed it very much. So I would say those are the two main ones. There's a couple other around there, but yeah, I'm watching at home, having a couple people over. I just don't want to get only Eagles fans. Like I don't want to get I don't know. I don't like this is a big game. I don't want people that are like just there to
have fun,
like chat or commercials or whatever.
Don't talk. Don't talk to me.
Come before, we'll chat. Stay after halftime, we can talk. That's all good stuff. Like, but let's lock in.
Yeah, I'm just watching the game at home with my wife and my dogs. That's more than enough people for me. Final one, writes to RickySanchez@gmail.com from, okay, I'm going to give you a choice. The two emails that you have to choose from are one with a Joel Embiid trade idea and the other one comparing the Sixers to an NFL franchise. Which one do you want?
It's the deadline. I always poo-poo Joel trade ideas, but let's do it. Let's give it to somebody.
I actually think it's interesting. I'll say why after I read the email. This is from Greg. Dear Ricky Sanchez team, hypothetically, what kind of fair trade package do you think Oklahoma City could offer for Embiid over the summer, assuming OKC fails to win a ring this year and Embiid seems healthy enough to play another 2 seasons? I think this could be a rare feel-good trade for everyone involved. The NBA would be thrilled to see rising star SGA and Embiid get OKC its first ring, while 76ers fans get some nice assets and end this cursed era and start a rebuild. I think most 76ers fans would also be happy to see Embiid have a chance to win for another franchise. Importantly, OKC has enough assets that won't be forced to give up any critical or core roster pieces in an effort to upgrade. The thing I would add on to this that I thought, I know you will smirk and poo-poo it, but I would say I listen to 3 Bill Simmons podcasts a year, and he used to do the trade value column, and he does like ranking NBA players by what their trade value is. And when they got to Embiid, they could not figure out how to value him. And I think that is, like he said in one world, I think he could cost picks to give up. In another world, maybe you just get expirings, or in another world, maybe there's a team that would really give you a lot for him. And I don't think, at the end of the day, I just don't think Oklahoma City would trade for Joel Embiid. Is where I'm at. I don't think they would.
The set of circumstances that would have to lead to that.
Yes. He would have to look so good that the Sixers wouldn't trade him.
Yeah, it's like there's a narrow window where it's like, I don't know, if Paul George got hurt in a way that was like, career ending basically.
Yes.
And then Maxey was out for the season. Let's say like next year.
Yes.
Maxey's missing the season. And then it's like Joel is still in this like will he play, won't he play kind of thing. So the Sixers are going to be bad anyway. They might go like, okay, we will concede that this era is over, have Paul George's dead money contract for as long as possible, give Maxey the year off while he recoups from some like devastating injury, and we will get like 2 first-round picks. Like the Thunder are so loaded, and the upside of Joel is so high that I could see them or some team like them going like, well, we're flush with picks and we're good already. If this works, like it's a rocket ship to the top. Like, and the Thunder are already like, 30 games over 500, which is crazy.
The salary thing would be challenging for Oklahoma City in that they would have to trade you probably Hartenstein, who makes $30 million, and I know this sounds crazy, but I almost think that Thunder would rather have Hartenstein.
I mean, yeah, he's missed a lot of the year also.
Yes.
But obviously Joel has injury issues that you're going to have to consistently account for. Yeah, I mean, it'd be like, Hartenstein, Dort, and you can get there. But, and then and they're just so loaded with picks. They got a bunch. So,
yeah, I just don't think they would do it. I think the Sixers are.
I think if they could go, hey, we have Shea, Jalen Williams, Caruso, Cason Wallace, Chet, Embiid, and like a couple other role players, which they still have more than that, more than I named just off the top of my head. Like, if I was the Thunder and the Sixers were like, hey, just stack like Hartenstein and Dort and Usman Jang, and 2 picks, I would 100% do that. I would absolutely 100% do that. But I'm a guy that thinks that you should be able to get some stretch of health for Joel there, and it's a worthy risk. Is it not a risk at all? Like, no, of course there's some risk involved, but the idea of having like Embiid with Chet and SGA, even like for 40 games, and they can win without him. Like that's the benefit, is that you're OKC, you can win without that stuff, and you just have a complete. Like, I mean, that would be defensively. Chet Embiid is insane. So I don't know. I would do it if I were them. I wouldn't do it if I were the Sixers. It's still to me not worth it.
And they are winning without Chet as it is.
Yeah. That to me is why SGA is the MVP, by the way. I know it's like turning towards Jokic, but like I've been arguing with Gons about this. It's like Jokic is having the best statistical season of his career offensively. He's an incredible offensive player. He's probably the best offensive player in the league, and one of the best offensive players ever. but he's still a average at best or below average center on a team that is now, they lost to the Knicks tonight, only 9 games over 500. And
Shea is still minus 370.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. But Jokic is plus 260.
I just sort of seen people talking about it, and it
Yeah.
felt like it was heading towards it. I wasn't saying.
But he was minus 500 a week ago. So
yeah. And the Thunder are 29 games over 500.
Yeah.
Without Chet, with a lot of times that without Hartenstein. He's a two-way player. He's an incredible two-way player. He's a great defender. He's second in the league in steals. And he blocks and he moves and and he's leading the league in points per game. So it's like the guys for MVP to me, that it's like offense, defense, and like team standings. And
yeah, he just deserves it.
It's to me, it's right there. Nothing to take away from Jokic. I'm not doing that. But I mean, SGA is the best player, leader in points per game on the best team by a lot. That also plays two ways. And Jokic has been MVP 3 of the last 4 years. Like it's just to burn the other guy, to give him another one when them as a team are only having a, by their standards, like slightly above average season. I just don't think I would give it to SGA.
I think sometimes a lot of times the MVP should just be like an eye test gut check on who's the MVP this year. And to me, SGA is the MVP this year. It's just like, that's what it is. And I'm actually less high on them from a championship perspective, I think, but he's the MVP this year. It's just like, to me, it's pretty clear he's the MVP this year. He's the best player on the best team. He's dominating.
That's crazy. He's the man, and was traded to the Thunder for Paul George.
Yes. There you go.
So what's going to happen here? Last thing with Sixers, you got to go rest, be parallel to the ground.
Yes.
Because the Bulls and the Hawks are going to like fall off a cliff, the Sixers are going to be the fucking 9 seed, dude.
Oh yeah.
They're going to be the 9 seed.
Oh, tonight they're going to be the 9 seed, or you think
very soon?
Yeah.
Even if they lose the next 4 games, they still might be the 9 seed.
Well,
they're going to beat one of Atlanta or Chicago in the play-in, and then all they have to do is beat whoever doesn't win the 7-8, one of which will be the Pistons, to get a chance to face probably the Cavs in a 1-8 when the Cavs are having like a historically great season. But I mean, people are going to think, and I'm going to think, that like, well, if Embiid's healthy, they have a shot. And it just didn't have to be this way. We didn't have to go through this. We didn't have to go through the sweat, the stress.
Well, none of it had to be this way ever, and it always is.
It always is.
Yeah. All right, we will talk to you this weekend. So one more before the Eagles play in the Super Bowl. So go Birds. We'll talk to you this weekend. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. Like face.